A reminder that I just got done telling you, the election of Donald Trump did not save America. It bought us some time. We have 1,000 more battles to fight, legal and local, in order to save this country. We cannot win presidential elections and then sit back on our hands and say, whew, thank goodness, save us, Trump. That's not how it works. We have a lot of work to do, including work in the critical swing state of Wisconsin. Did you know there's a big fat election there, an important one? Joining me now, former Governor Scott Walker, president of the Young America's Foundation, joins us to talk about that. Governor, what's happening in your state?
It's a battle royale, 47-47, the latest poll by the statewide Chamber of Commerce, so a reliable poll. And, this shouldn't even be close. Brad Schimel, the conservative former attorney general, is running against a radically liberal, ultra left-winger out of Dane County named Susan Crawford, who's letting child sex offenders out and other awful things. But George Soros, Rex Hoffman, J.D. Pritzker, they're all putting millions into this state, and that's why it's incredibly close and incredibly important for us to win.
Who is, I think I already know the answer to this question based on what you just said, but who's winning the money race? Are we even competing there? Or is this another one of those things where we're getting outspent by the Maoists?
Well, we're being outspent, but it's actually surprisingly relatively close. I think that's because early on, I and a whole bunch of other folks from Wisconsin reached out to people across the country and mentioned what was at stake. This isn't just about the things I did here, the reforms that we did when we took on the big government union bosses years ago, or school choice, or even photo ID to vote requirements that will be gone if Susan Crawford's on the high court. This has a national implication, really twofold. One was an obvious one we've been talking about for the last month, and that is if Crawford gets in, her campaign invites even said this for a fundraiser she was on. They said their goal is to get rid of 2 seats currently held by Republicans in the House of Representatives from Wisconsin, as a new court will redraw the boundaries for those congressional districts. So right there, you could stop the president's agenda just by stopping what the majority in the U.S. House. And we saw how close it was over the last few weeks. But secondly, even more timely, we saw what happened this weekend when President Trump and his team did what they said they were going to do and get the worst of the worst, some of the worst criminals in the world, send them back to their countries of origin. And what do we got? A judge who's trying to block that. If Susan Crawford's on the bench with 3 other activists, radical, liberal, brazen political activists, they're going to stop the flow of horrendous criminals like that out of the state of Wisconsin. And that's another blow to the president's agenda.
Governor, obviously this is a state you know well. It's a state you did so well in. Can you help me understand Wisconsin? It's a state I love. How can this woman even possibly compete? Money or no money? Every Wisconsinite I've ever met in my life is like the most down-to-earth, wonderful human being. Even the non-political people, they're just decent people. It's not San Francisco. I don't understand it.
It's very much a slice of Americana here, except for pockets of Milwaukee and good chunks of the city of Madison. Madison is so liberal, they still have Bernie Sanders signs up from 2026. So this is an area who thinks Hillary Clinton was too moderate. And this shows you just out of touch. So you get those 2 big urban areas who are radically, overwhelmingly, not just Democrat, but liberal, socialist radicals out there. And then the rest of us have to offset that. And so that's really what the margins are about. You throw in the money, the mix. In the last 25 years, Wisconsin has been the closest battleground state in America. Now, thank God, we helped Donald Trump win it last year by a little bit more than we typically win. But what we need now more than ever, all those people who voted for Trump and Vance in the fall have to show up this spring. Traditionally, there's a huge drop-off from people who vote in the November election versus those who vote in the April spring election. If we carry just a fraction of those people we won with last fall, we'll win this election. But we got to wake those folks up. And it's why I hope President Trump will come here to Wisconsin between now and April 1st and actually campaign for Brad Schimel, because I think Donald Trump can win this race for us.
Governor, before I let you go, people were watching all over the country, not just Wisconsin. Is there anything people around the country can do to help, or do we all just have to sit back and pray and cross our fingers?
Well, SchimelForJustice.com is Brad Schimel's site. He's a former attorney general, career prosecutor, versus Susan Crawford, who, Brad puts people away for a long time. She lets them out too early. Couldn't be a starker contrast. But I think what people could do is what they did for me. Remember years ago when we had that recall election and all the protesters from around the country, counter it, not just send money, make phone calls, reach out to anyone you know in Wisconsin, anyone who's got connections to Wisconsin, volunteer to help out with the campaign or with the party, making calls as it was for me in that recall election. People in all 50 states connected to help us win the recall, which was the first of its kind in America. We won with more votes than we did the first time around. I think if we have that kind of pouring out, not just financially, but of people making calls, reaching out to people, texting, emailing, whatever you can do, let people in Wisconsin know how important this race is.
Governor, appreciate you very much, sir. Come back soon. I would thank you for coming to my YouTube channel, but I know how brilliant it is, and I know you love it here. So subscribe and watch. We're going to start really ramping things up and putting some funny stuff, some interesting stuff out there, some collaborations. Either way, my YouTube channel is officially the place to be. So stick around.